Yo, 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 yo. What is going on, everybody? Let me see. Music back on. Good morning, everybody. Well, good afternoon. It is 11 a.m. here in California. Heck. Starting everything up. This is going to be a very, very, very chill stream today. Very, very relaxed. No guest. But I'm here to answer any questions you guys have regarding D&D, myself, or the channel. So, hello everybody, welcome to Dungeoneer's Pack Live. I'm Josh, thank you guys for showing up. Yeah, this week it's the closing to the end of the year. It's still been a very eventful week. Wizards dropped that errata that has people buzzing, some upset, some not. Critical Role got themselves into weird discussion also regarding their very, very, I personally think, super campy new intro. So you guys have questions about that we could talk about that. But yeah, I just really wanted to take this Sunday to have like a very, very relaxed stream just to kind of discuss what my plans are for the future of the channel. But before we get started with that, if you haven't checked out this week's video, I did a YouTube collab with a bunch of my favorite D&D YouTubers that were able to jump in. I have a link to that, I believe, up at the top in the chat, but I will add a link to it in the description below. You can also check it out right on the channel page. It's the featured video. It was a very, very fun, heartwarming, very, I would say, yeah, like heartwarming, feel-good kind of video, just to kind of give us our hopes and dreams of what we expect for the game next year. I was expecting a lot more Spelljammer, but there were some Spelljammer references already. So yeah, definitely look forward to that. Oh, we're good. So yeah. So, well, I guess we're gonna kick it off right now. Just what to expect from the channel this next year. So yeah, so doing some votes that you guys put up on the I did ask some questions on the community page, what you guys want to see. What's going on, CBev, Sanctimus, thank you guys for joining in. And yeah, I have some new functionality with CBev said, getting ready for a Ravenloft campaign and trying to build a level 6 fighter. Ooh. What kind of fighter are you looking into building? Or you're not really sure yet? Alright, so yeah, looking at the what to expect early in the year, I asked what video you want to see first. So straight up asked you guys, I had 3 ideas that I was working on. I want to try something a little new with some of these videos, but also still go back to some of the bread and butter stuff that everybody was pretty much subbing to the channel for, which is my overview of a lot of the subclasses and providing ways to reflavor and also fit them into other settings. So obviously that one got voted. It smashed all the other 2. So first video of next year will be a look at the Tempest Cleric. And then also find ways to reflavor and fit them into the official 5th edition settings. So yeah, some of the big things I've been sort of iffy on, not so much doing this, but continuing that sort of format. I don't know, maybe I know there's other channels that are really, really good at just breaking down these subclasses and really finding the mechanics. And in general, all the feedback I get in regards to my style and take on the subclasses, that people really like the reflavoring of these subclasses and also how I could fit them in the settings. So I'm not necessarily sure if I'm going to continue doing like full-on breakdowns. I think I can save that for live streams and with other content creators and get their feedback, and we can go back and forth why those things, maybe the class or subclass just doesn't work. Very similar to the monk that we did. And then the videos skew towards reflavoring and fitting them into other settings. Like, it's coming to the point where there's going to be so many settings that I can shove that into its own video of like how to fit Tempest Cleric into all the settings because 2022 we're getting Return of 2 classic settings, and then on top of that we're getting 2 brand new that are not Magic the Gathering settings. So for me, it's like that could just be a whole video, just like, and I can even probably do bigger, deeper dives and do a little bit of lore explanation of like, okay, why this subclass fits with this certain thing. So if you guys like to see that, just let me know in the chat and let me know in the comments too, because I would like to. That's something I would maybe like to explore more, is like give deeper dives on lore, and even deeper dives on the reflavoring, and actually maybe provide an additional document that you guys can download of the reflavor of, say, like for example, Tempest Cleric, to reflavor that into in reflavor and maybe change the damage type, and then show how that damage type alters the entire subclass. Maybe something I can add on to. All right, let's see. First question is from Sanctimus. Have I seen the Templar fighter subclass on DMZ? No, I have not. Do you know who did it? Dropped it. If you can drop it in the chat, I will link it. Drop the link and I will actually pull it up right here on stream. All right, CBev said regarding the fighter trying to build, I'm not sure. I got an Arcane Trickster Rogue, a Loreward, a Devotion Paladin, and a Blade Song Wizard. I'm trying to be optimal for the party and still flavorful, because apparently I'm going to be a Vistani. Okay, so you got a pretty much well-rounded team. So pretty much you can kind of go nuts. Arcane Trickster Rogue, I'm assuming they're going to be more melee. Loreward, Devotion Paladin is probably going to be your tank. Couple builds you could kind of just do off the top of my head would be some sort of ranged, but I think another like maybe tanky frontliner would be good to help out your devotion, depending on how they're playing. That also takes some heat off the Blade Song Wizard. They really need a wizard at times. I would maybe I'm trying to think of Vistani, because Vistani, they're more of a culture, especially with the erratas. There isn't really much that kind of gives them like a geared towards, especially when it comes to the fighter, geared towards a specific kind of fighter. If you're going to go with like the Ravenlofty curse sort of thing, obviously Echo Knight is perfect for that sort of vibe. You can just reflavor the Echo itself as a Dark Shadow, a Ghost, thing of that nature. Battle Master Fighter is always good. And I'm trying to think. That's my thing with the fighters. Like, some of these are a little, their subclasses are a little too bland. But my gut reaction is like, suggestions Echo Knight. It just fits the whole vibe of the setting of Ravenloft. All right, underleveled. What's going on, man? You're saying, I hope they do something with Elustre, since Wizard seems to have forgotten her, and I also hope they provide more resources to help people get into DMing. I really want to give it a try. Yeah, I would say DMing is not an easy. It's something something I'm really kind of digging into this year. Also, running the Descendant to Avernus. The good thing is like there is a lot of like really good DM channels and tips that I'm gonna fortunately say like they do a lot better job of providing tools and ways to DM compared to what Wizards puts out. So yeah, obviously a bunch of our content creator friends, and if you guys haven't checked out Underlevel's channel, go ahead and check him out. He was Santa Claus in the collab video. I have a link to his channel in that video, so definitely check out the video and then go to his channel and support him. Okay, Templar fighter subclass was made by Scott Sampson. Okay, so let me DM guild. Got Samson. Templar fighter. Got Samson. He's a little. All right, so preview. Fighter, Templar fighter archetype. So I'm assuming this is going to be with the name like Templar. This will be something more akin to like the Echo Knight, but like with divine. I'm guessing. Right, Sanctimus. Oh, okay. So this is what we're going to see. Okay, so they're going to get cantrips from the Cleric spell list. Let me see if I can. Do the bigger for you guys. Okay, so yep, we get 2 cantrips from the Cleric spell list, which is, I think this Echo Knight is similar. They get the wizard, obviously. Get some spell slots, get some first level spells from the Cleric spell list, specific abjuration and evocation. So this is going to be very similar to the Echo Knight, or not the Echo Knight, Eldritch Knight. Excuse me. Let's see. Hey, what's going on? What's going on, Taryn? Thank you for dropping by, man. Divine Eldritch Knight. Okay, I want to see the big thing with the Eldritch Knight is obviously their way that they combine extra tech and cantrips, because Bladesinger has a better version of it now with the errata in Tasha's. So I'd be all in on this subclass, because I know narratively the concept overlaps obviously with Paladin and war, like the more of the melee clerics, but I still think this is still a cool sort of space for the fighter too. Sometimes you just don't want to play a cleric or a paladin, you want to play a fighter but like be divine, and the only real option in the game currently officially would be something akin to taking the acolyte background and then magic initiate feat to get some cleric spells, and then that's it. Yeah, and then you're just pick fighter, and then you don't have anything in your class subclasses and chassis to something like you can just reflavor Eldritch Knight and just do it that way. But picking up certain clerics spells, especially like Sacred Flame, and like that are traditionally seen as clerics. Bonded armor. Read it. At 3rd level, you learn a ritual that creates a magical bond between one set of armor or shield. You perform the ritual over the course of 1 hour. All right, so this is going to be different than the bonded weapon, which I think is cool. Okay, that's cool. It's cool. It's different. I think it's going to be more useful for the shield until you get like what is it? I already forgot the feat. It's the Warcaster feat, obviously. Hey, what's going on, Rich? What's going on? Catching up. Okay, so yeah, so pretty much it's very similar to the bonded weapon. Obviously, the reason you have the bonded weapon is like when you're casting, you throw the weapon down, and then you cast, and then bonus action, bring your weapon back. This will be very similar. So obviously you're going to be casting, throw your shield down, cast, and it's pretty much until you get Warcaster, and then you don't really have to worry too much about that. The bonded armor stuff is just kind of cool because RP wise, if your character they're taking a long rest and then you guys get attacked at the middle of the night, you can just be like, oh boom, armor up, and then you could jump into the fight. So that's like little niche cases. Do you want some hot off the press wizard subclass? Did you finish the light and dark wizard? And I actually have a little surprise for everybody too, because I have my School of Summoning wizard sort of done. That I just need to finish some of the familiar stuff, but I want to like preview it too. Got a link to it, Rich? Send it to me. I will go through it. And then we got War Magic. Okay, is you actually cast a cantrip, you can make one weapon attack as bonus action. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I think I want to say maybe that is the British. really what you're going to see with this, I'm trying to think what Cleric spell would you be able to do with it, like in a melee sense. So right now I'm only thinking like Sacred Flame and then Mackie. I will affecting. No. Okay, and then Blessed Ring Invigoration. At 10th level, when you use your second wind feature, all allies within 30 feet, you regain hit points equal to 1d10 of your fighter level. Oh, that is sweet. Like, I really wish more fighter subclasses triggered off of like second wind and action surge, because it's just so underexplored. Like, and those are like the two core class features outside of pretty much the attack action, like that everything triggers off of. So I really wish that there was more classes that kind of did more things with second wind and action surge. So it just doesn't feel like they're tacked on. Radiant Retaliation at 15th level, your first hit back to 1 minute after you. Oh, see, here we go. Action surge. At 15th level, for the first time you are hit by an attack up to 1 minute after you use your action surge, the attacker takes radiant damage equal. All right, so it's just a big old damage spike when you use action surge. After you use your action surge. Prove War Magic. When you use your action to cast a spell. Okay, so that's sweet. I like this. It fulfills a niche. That's the fills a niche that it fills a niche in the fighter, not necessarily a niche in the game. Because obviously there, like I said earlier, there's holy warriors are all over the place. Paladin, Cleric, you can do that thing, but under the fighter you. So and it's not like Wizards is not afraid to kind of have overlapping sort of archetypes in this other classes. Obviously, Hexablade Warlock, Bladesinger Wizard, Eldritch Knight Fighter. Like you have these magical-ish arcane fighters. But since there's so many of those filling in different classes, it would make sense. You just build a class that is like that. So like that's why you see a lot of Maguses running around on the DM's Guild, because it's like there's a want and need to really fulfill that niche. Yeah, so I like this. This is I would say if like somebody wanted to play this in like my table, just like right now my Descent into Avernus game, this would fit perfectly. We're gonna take a look really quick. So you guys can see this is Rich Mary. Let me realign this. Oh, so okay. So Rich, I know, has been working on several subclasses, but the one thing that I'm surprised because I talked about was the fact that this subclass was actually supposed to be a wizard subclass, but that is a cleric subclass. So that is very interesting. Or is that a typo, Rich? Is this very much still a wizard sub? So let's take a look at this. Okay, so we get Light and Darkness Cleric subclass. So you guys are the first ones to see this. Rich hasn't posted this on his Patreon, so thank you, Rich, for the this sneak peek on this. So okay, so this is supposed to be a wizard subclass, not a cleric subclass. Okay, so because I'm looking at the subclass ability layout, you guys can't see yet. So this is not a cleric subclass, this is a wizard subclass. So wizards are arcane researchers at heart, and none are more dedicated than the school of Light and Darkness. Scholars that heed the call of manipulating the colors of the world are on the quest to find mythical or color between planes. They're more industrious types focused on the ability to bend light and invisibility. Okay, this is reminding me already a lot of I'm down if you got new stuff. I know you've been working on the Root Keeper, Taryn, so yeah, if you I'm pretty much, this is a very, very chill stream. People are wanting to show stuff off. I'm more than willing to take a look on stream. So let's see. So again, this Light and Darkness already, I'm getting Silver Quill sort of vibes off of this, which is cool. Since there are really very few options that allow you to both manipulate light and shadow in the game right now. You either manipulate shadow or you manipulate light, and that's it. This is something I would have loved to see in the Strixhaven if they actually had subclasses, something for the bard that would fit with Silver Quill, because that would have been really good. Oh yeah, so let's see. Blinding Lights. Gain access to the Dancing Light cantrip. If you already have this cantrip, you could choose another cantrip for the wizard spell list. As part of the bonus action used to move the lights, you can force one creature within 5 feet of light to make a Constitution saving throw or be blinded for the next minute. At the end of each turns, target can make a Constitution saving throw on a success. The effect ends. That's pretty sweet. That turn, I really like this because it turns a utility cantrip into a offensive cantrip. It's still a control ability, but it expands its utility, which I think is really, really neat. So trying to make sure there's a difference between this side and the illusion of comments. Want to make a capture nerdy wizard focusing on the whole spectrum of light. Yeah, I really like Blinding Lights. That is a sweet way of like reutilizing the Dancing Lights cantrip, expanding it. This is not on the DM's Guild. This is actually going to be on Rich's Patreon. So after the VOD, what I'll do is I'll update all these. I'll update the description in the below to the links to some things that we're looking on the stream. Yeah, I remember, and I was sort of putting concepts together for a visual artist bard subclass that I was looking at Prismatic Spray and a bunch of those, and I was actually frustrated with it, so I kind of stepped away from it. Yeah, Prismatic and alternate color stuff is at time. Bending Light. If you are in the area of a light cast fire spell you create, you can use a bonus action to become invisible until you leave that area. You can use this bonus action a number of times equal to bonus and regain XP. Many uses when you finish a long rest. Okay, the only thing I'm seeing with this is that's kind of throwing me off. I like it because you get to turn invisible, and it doesn't like to do that. The specificity on the range of the area, that would hopefully clear it up, because is it a weaker invisibility where you can't move? You have to stay stuck in an area, or is there a pretty much a range that you can kind of move around in? Okay, sweet. Yeah, just whatever you got, just throw it at me on Discord, DM me, and I will. All right, let's see. So yeah, that's the only thing for this one, Rich, is just the specificity on the range of the area. So a player will know how much to move. But I like it. It was just because invisibility is cool. And even then, like a player, I can see we're flavoring this too, just if they want to make it more of a shadow. It wouldn't be a bad, like, yeah. You're grounding yourself in darkness and kind of moving around. Magic Dark Vision. You have Blind Sight within a range of 10 feet. That's feet. Within that range, you can effectively see anything that isn't behind total cover. Moreover, you can see an invisible creature unless the creature successfully hides from you. At 14th level, the range increases. Would it be bad just to straight up say they have Magic Dark Vision here? This is fun utility. A Blind Sight, I think, with the range of 10 feet for a wizard, I'm thinking like effectiveness, somewhat useful. So like useful for more out of combat stuff. Obviously, if they're in combat and then there's an invisible creature within 10 feet of them that they can see, they're kind of screwed to begin with. Or you could see invisible creatures and let the creatures successfully hide from you. Yeah, so and this is going to be the big thing, that they can actually see invisible creatures. Well, the blind sight's cool, but I think the big thing is, I think just specify the range if it's going to trigger off your own vision. But other than that, like, yeah, because I the way I read it, it's going to trigger off your own standard vision. But obviously, specifying for clarity's sake, so people understand, is always a good thing. At the level 14, the range increases to 20 feet. Yeah, okay, so Aaron has some tips right here. It tends to be only really right visibility in Magic Darkness if the class itself grants the ability to create magical darkness. Oh, and then Krasiv helped co-created with you. Okay, so shout out to Krasiv. Both Rich and Krasiv were on a stream earlier this year with how to make pretty much a design talk of what makes a good subclass for those especially wanting to get into subclass design and are looking just either homebrew or getting into the design, being a professional designer some level. Okay, so there's the printer friendly version. Okay. And then Luminous Casting, level 14, you are so adept at bending light and shadow that you are able to duplicate the effects of spells using transient, semi-real manifestations of light. To duplicate the effects of any spell 5th level or lower in your spellbook without expending a spell slot, you didn't have the spell prepared. The effect uses the same rules as the original spell except for the following changes. Original spell requires a saving throw, the effect requires an intelligence saving throw instead. If the original spell deals damage and requires a saving throw or a creature's saving throw takes no damage. Saving throw. Original spell deals damage and requires a saving throw. So if the original spell deals damage and you attack roll, it deals half as much damage. All the damage dealt by the effect is radiant instead of the original spell's damage type. If the spell's original duration is longer than 1. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, so you get some buffs here, obviously forcing saves and stuff to use intelligence instead. Then the original spell deals damage, requires saving throw, a creature that succeeds. Okay, so there's a little bit of nerfs. I'm reading this right, Rich. The light nerfs to some of your spells. All the damage dealt by the effect is radiant, so you change the damage type, which is cool. But you shorten the duration of stuff. Interesting. This is interesting. I don't know how I in general feel. Obviously, when I see a capstone, I want to feel powerful, and then seeing, I think people's gut reaction, even if it is for balanced reasons, to cut back on stuff. Whoa, thank you, Sanctimus. Okay, thank you, Sanctimus, for the 25. I have a question. What martial class and subclass that isn't a paladin would be the best fit as a champion of chaotic neutral spider god who is trying to dispose Loth and regain domain over spiders? The go-to answer, Swarm Keeper Ranger. Your swarm is is spiders. You can reflavor your weapons as spider bites or like fangs and stuff. It definitely would be my go-to for anybody that wants to play some sort of bug. And with all the Tasha's changes and stuff, like it does make it a more stronger and calm. But then even with the regular base options for the ranger, if you need more survivalists, there you go. What's going on, Adrian? Leave Loth alone. But yeah. But yeah, definitely I would say Swarmkeeper. And if you need ideas for specifically a spider-esque Swarmkeeper, I have a build for that using the Swarmkeeper and also the Dampier, reflaving the Dampier as some sort of spider monster, very Spider-Man-esque sort of build. Yeah, you can check that out too to mine some ideas. That yeah, I definitely would say Swarmkeeper Ranger. Maybe even I've been saying Echo Knight a lot just because you could kind of multi-class Echo it. Maybe your echoes are made of web or something like that. Oh, what's going on, Fred? Thank you for stopping by. But yeah, definitely. Download this one. Or to take a look at life. Take a look at this Terrans also. Okay. Got right now. Okay, so yeah, so the thing was, you were saying, Rich, that it's a weaker version using radiant damage and it's a free spell. So okay, so that's why. Okay, that perfectly makes sense. And that's why I completely skipped this. So okay, that understands. You're pretty much getting a free 5th or lower level spell. Pretty much you can get a free fireball, which isn't a bad thing. Yeah. Yeah. Overall, I like this. I like the thematic. I think obviously just clarifying the range and area on the bending light, and then also the range of visibility for your seeing invisible creatures. If it just triggers off your natural vision, would help as a player trying to figure things out and not leave too much to interpretation. And then after that, this is fun. Like you are a light wizard, light-based wizard. The only thing I think I wish I would want to see, just because it also gives me Green Lantern vibes, is maybe building constructs. We got another question. Ooh, thank you for the $5 Wolfsbane. Any ideas for a homebrew cleric that prays to cosmic gods or space gods, maybe gravity or force damage types of effects? Let's see. I think the only stuff that we'd be seeing for that plays with gravity and time and cosmic forces has been obviously at official capacity in the Wildmount book. So I think there's a lot of those ideas you can mine from them, but obviously within certain just balance issues with those subclasses. I think if you're really wanting to play some sort of not necessarily like, you could still pull up the cleric vibes without necessarily digging into the cleric. I think the quick and easy dirty one would be a divination wizard and then just be an acolyte, and then your divination itself is time manipulation, and that's an easy way to go. You're a time wizard but also time cleric. Okay, yeah, and then I'm gonna throw up Indestructible Boys thing. I believe Haggard Clint has covered in the Chronomancer's Guide to the Future, Wolfsbane. So yeah, and then there's that option there too. I'm trying to think of other ways to just reflavor certain base classes. Look this up because there's nothing I think in the base classes you could reflavor, because that's another way to just do. And then I will pull up Chronomancer's Guide if it's on D. Yeah, and honestly, there's nothing in the current game for subclasses that are going to give you that feel for cleric. Let's go to DM's Guild really quick. I will pull it up for you guys if I can. Any good chef classes? Actually, if I'm mistaken, correct me, Taryn, if I'm wrong. Does the merchant has a chef subclass, right? And if not, I have a chef character build on the channel that turns the Alchemist Artificer into a chef. Alchemist Artificer does have problems though, in terms of power or relevancy, so it's not necessarily oh, it's on drive-through. Okay, cool. Drive-through. Oh. Yeah, our Alchemist Artificer is a little bit rough. In terms of its playstyle, it's not really going to be for everybody. Romancer's Guide to the Future. I will pull it up. Switch and I see a few more questions. Okay, so here's a link. Right now. And then it's on sale right now too, so definitely go support the creators. And let me link it in the chat for you guys. Okay, yeah, and then definitely check out Terran's Merchant. That is definitely on the DM's Guild, and there is a Gourmet Guild, which is the chef subclass for that. So definitely go check that out too. Okay, so let's go answer some questions. Before I get to Fred's question, there was a question from Dev, I believe. Okay, so up right now. Does anyone else share the opinion of Monster Hunter martial class subclass being pointless since every class is technically a Monster Hunter? I was looking into that type and was given that response. Honestly, I think the Monster Hunter sort of subclass is supposed to fill a narrative niche, right? I think at the time a Witcher was really popping off, and this was before the television show, but it was I believe Witcher 3 was really inspiring a lot of people. That's kind of why you got the Blood Hunter also from Matt Mercer. And then you also had this big in the D&D community, this big thing for Ravenloft, because I believe around that time, correct me if I'm wrong, because all of D&D 5th edition kind of just timeline just bleed for me, but Curse of Strahd was around, I believe, and there wasn't a Monster Hunter Van Helsing-esque option available yet. Yeah, so that's why I think narratively there's a niche and want for it, even though technically everybody is a Monster Hunter. But what I'm seeing is that when they mean Monster Hunter, that's what they're really referring to, is Van Helsing, Witcher-esque sort of niche, which has been a staple of Gothic horror for forever. So it makes sense that there would be a playable option for that. I don't think it's useless, but I think it just fits within its setting specific. And Fred had a question. Going on, SWAT Cat, see you. Okay. Are you expecting, Fred's question was, are you expecting a lot of people to take part in the playtesting for D&D Evolution in 2020 to 5e? Honestly, there's going to be a lot of talk, at least amongst the creator community, about it. Definitely I think those that are super invested into the game already are definitely gonna be in on the playtest. They're gonna want to see what the game's what changes they're gonna want. I think for the casual folks that don't necessarily watch us and watch the channels, that are just, D&D is just hangout time for them to socialize, drink beer, and and snack and just play. They're not going to care too much. Their gaming experience is different. I think really it's going to come down to those that are pretty much people like us that are invested, that want to know the changes, want to see how it's going to affect, that are going to test. I definitely will be talking about it. I'm pretty sure Indestructible Terran's going to be talking about it. Rich will be talking about it. Fred, you probably will be talking about it too. So there's going to be a lot of us discussing. Yeah, I want to see a creator roundtable when they release the playtest stuff. Yeah, definitely. I know I will be doing streams for that. For sure. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to check out Terran's Life Weaver. Yeah, so I'm gonna go over this one. Then after this, I will preview my School of Summoning subclass. Then discuss some of my go back into talking about what I expect to do next year. What do you guys expect to see? Oh, that would be awesome to see. Aaron, I'd love to see what you and Ross and Heavy Arms have to say about stuff. All right, Sanctissimus. Would you make Eldritch Class a class feature for the Warlocks? I wouldn't. Yeah, I would. Like, it makes sense. That should be their thing. That is their thing. They're the only ones that really get that spell. To the same vein, I would probably make Hunter's Mark a class feature for the Ranger. It just makes sense. Like, if you're only allowing a class certain access to a spell, while I understand why it's easy to just format the spell as that feature as a spell. But if you're only getting one class access to that thing, you just make it a class feature. It just makes more sense to do it that way. Yeah, so yeah, definitely. Eldritch Blast should be a Warlock class feature. I'd be perfectly fine with it. To the same vein, I would be perfectly fine with like fighters getting maneuvers as a base feature, just to give them more of a sort of identity with the class. Just makes sense. You're the best martial fighter. And maneuvers kind of play into that idea, having more options in that. All right, so this is Indestructible Terran's Life Weaver, so definitely go check out his channel. A lot of awesome design and design approach to the game. They're way different from optimization. It looks more about a viability and balance compared to just raw power that those in the optimization circles like to look at. Definitely go check out his channel. It's amazing. Terran's been on a roll with live streaming like a madman those last few days. Because, oh man, those long 6-hour streams. I don't know if I can do it. All right, another question. CBev, so is the Warlord class you had in poll Kibble's take on the class? Okay, so I'll answer this in a bit after I look at Terran's thing, because yeah, I wanted to discuss why I wanted to do a video like this, because it goes into some other stuff I want to try into the channel. So underleveled, will you think the new classes and the evolution of D&D playtest stuff? I don't think so. If there is going to be a new class, it'll be the Scion. I think they would try to sneak that in there, but I doubt there's going to be any new classes completely. I think they have a lot of work just to reflavor stuff. Just to redo certain things, especially like Monk needs to get a rework. For some people, Sorcerer to some extent. I think a lot of the classes do need some quality of life change, especially the subclasses need some quality of life change. But based off of what we know about this, the big 2024 update, this stuff is don't expect radical change from the 2024 update. They want this to be backwards compatible, and even a future edition, a 6E, a true 6th edition, they've already said they want to make all the stuff backwards compatible. So that makes me believe that the whole changing of editions of that has been tradition with D&D and the tabletop role-playing space. I think Dungeons and Dragons is going to go more towards a living edition where they just constantly update it and make changes and then do one big update and keep the base system. Like right now, the core 5th edition isn't really broken. It's in a sense that nobody's really dissatisfied with it. It has a lot of commercial success, so they're constantly bringing in new players. And the big thing is, why are you going to bring a new edition and scare off that new players and potentially new consumers? And that's the thing. It's a business mindset. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, sort of thing. But obviously, enfranchised players see that there's certain flaws in the system. They see that the matrix isn't as clean as it should be. So I think the big update's going to be more geared towards that, fixing some of the issues, but not necessarily upending the system. Okay. Ooh. So Indestructible Boy was saying it's extremely possible we will see some kind of pugilist separate from the monk. This isn't a base on a rumor I've heard. Just knowing Wizards is aware there's a demand for it. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing too, that there is some sort of melee martial niche that is separate from the monk that needs to be fulfilled too. I can see that. You're gonna see a lot of this. I think those that are from the older that have played previous editions want a bit more crunchier game. I like 5th edition because it's not that crunchy. Knowing that all those books for 3.5, it's very, very intimidating. Even looking at Pathfinder and Pathfinder 2nd edition, a lot of that stuff looks intimidating because there's so many choices that there's going to be a sense of choice paralysis for me. And I can see that, like, over time, obviously you get over it, but it makes me apprehensive of getting into systems like that. I like the fact that 5th edition is easier to get into initially to grasp, and then it has a little bit more narrative focus compared to previous editions. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at this. Let's look at this fighter. So this is a martial archetype, a Life Weaver. So the grim fighting techniques of Life Weavers steal away the essence of their enemies, empowering the healing the Reaver that struck them down. These grim warriors draw this fell power from the negative plane, a dimension of hostile annihilation that tears apart the fabrics of life and is normally only hospitable to the undead. Negative plane also reminds me of the negative zone, even though they are vastly different. But now I just have this image in my head of a nihilist coming in with a big old cosmic axe. The Life Weaver tempts fate by drawing on this power as the potential to be pulled into the Midnight Realm and replaced with one of the many horrors as always haunting possibility. I like this. I know for some time I was trying to do some sort of Death Knight, Dread Knight, sort of like dark powered warrior, and then yeah, this is another take, and obviously it's going to be way better than mine. But I really like this. Just the flavor text, I already really like it. Let's see. Life Weaver, Dreadlore, Lifesteal, Sanguine Invigoration, Bloodforge, Grim Gambit, Call of Annihilation. Oh, juicy names. Dreadlore, you gain the proficiency with either the medicine or religion skill, and you gain the chill, touch, cantrip, constitution, just spellcast ability. Or I like this, especially medicine and religion, and especially with that dark tone of this feature. That getting into these like medicine, you know how to inflict pain, so you know how to heal pain, or you know where to how grievous the wounds are going to be for a person. In religion, it just opens more RP space for the fighter like these. Question from Fred: do you think some of the core D&D 5e rules will be presented as optional in play test material to attract more people, like opportunity attacks? I think not really. I don't think they're gonna mess with certain stuff like opportunity attacks as make them optional. I think most of the core stuff that we see and use in the game is going to be left relatively unchanged. I think what you might see is like slight expansions or clarifications on some of the stuff if there's any lack of clarity. I think a lot of the stuff you're going to see is going to be updates maybe to certain class, and maybe get rid of some of maybe the clunky mechanics that make them a little bit more streamlined. We already saw this sort of stuff with Tasha's, where they very much have redesigned certain things to be more ease of use, especially like with the summoning and the pets. Specifically, like you look at that, how they've pretty much radically changed how they expect people to play pet classes, summoners. So you're going to see more stuff like that, where it's going to be either it is an overhaul, it's going to be easy to use stuff that people are already doing at their home in their home games, or just clarification stuff. Ooh, we're going to get into the alignment stuff. Okay, CBev, since there are a lot of D&D content creators are here, how do you guys feel about what's removing alignment portions of the race description? In terms of the whole errata, because this goes into the lore and stuff, my stance is on this. I know that people are up in arms about the lore changes, the errata changes, and the changes on alignment. I personally don't care for alignment. I think a oversimplified take on morality removes nuance, and conflict arises from nuance in morality. You see this as a perfect example in Eberron. Eberron's probably one of the, I think, best designed settings to play in, because even the people that are expected to be good, they're not completely good. And there's internal conflict between those organizations, and that internal conflict also puts that group into conflict with other organizations or other factions in that setting. Nobody's truly good, but nobody's truly evil, and it's up to the players to navigate through that space, and that itself builds a really interesting and fun story. I think if they were to focus more on motivations, ideals, pretty much all the things they give you for your character, and focus more on that, that will help DMs more in terms of how to run monsters and run organizations and run stuff like that. I think alignment is just a carryover from previous editions, where the game was meant to be much more of a combat simulator, a war game where you can then kind of just jump into dungeons, kick down the door, and not really have to worry about that. The more the game steers towards a narrative approach and more of a story-driven game, alignment tends to not work because it's too simple. In terms of the lore and in general, all these changes, it's very similar to how I see comic books. For example, DC Comics has rebooted almost their whole entire line every 5 years now. So the official canon and lore changes almost every 5 years. So if you're super invested, you get frustrated because it's like, well, Superman has a kid in this one, now he doesn't have a kid, now he's an old man, okay, now he's young again. How do you keep up with the stories, right? But one thing I learned, and it was pointed out by one of my favorite comic book creators, Grant Morrison, and the way he approaches and writes his stories for any of the characters he takes on, regardless of the reboots at the time, is he considers all his stories canon. And the reason he says this is because it's in print, it's out there, people have read it. It doesn't change the fact that it's not out there. And that's how I feel about the erratas and the changes. At the end of the day, all that stuff doesn't matter, because how you run and play your game. If you want, for example, evil drow in your setting and in your game, then you're going to have evil drow in your game. The fact that Wizards just says that not all drow are evil doesn't change the fact that you're still playing evil drow in your game. It really comes down to, where are you going to use this? And the old lore is still there. Are you just going to stick to the old lore or not? The bigger changes is more so that they're not removing certain aspects of these characters. They're adding on more aspects to create more conflict. Because that's the big thing. The big concern was like, okay, now drow are not all tied to Loth, right? Hey, cool. What does that mean? That there's a whole subsection of drow that are good. What's the story behind that? Why are they good? Where do they diverge? And what do they think of this opposing evil faction? And then how do that interact with the world? That's more interesting story dynamic, and how you can actually create a drow character that is seen as good and now has to deal. And if the group is willing to deal with this sort of, depending on the setting, a good drow that comes from a good drow or relatively good drow society, their whole people have a reputation, pretty much it's racism, reputation of being evil. As a character, what do they do in that world? And if they're willing to explore those themes in a very more adult table, they can interact with those. I don't think necessarily stepping away from those things is necessarily not helpful. But also, if you don't want to interact with those themes, you don't have to either. And that's the thing. It opens the game up to play the way that you guys want to play. And it's more of a expanding of the game than it is limiting it. Yeah, and exactly. What Indestructible Boy said, that alignment provides no thermomechanical weight. In the previous editions, it did. Now it doesn't. And even then, not all settings use alignment. Pretty much the only setting currently in 5th edition that does use alignment is Forgotten Realms. The only official setting, actually, Forgotten Realms and Ravenloft, right? Because they're kind of just tied together. Eberron doesn't. They've pretty much hand-waved alignment to not really worry about it. And then the Magic the Gathering settings don't use alignment. They're not alignment based. They have their Magic the Gathering has their own alignment based system with Color Pie. That I honestly think is a hell of a lot more interesting and a lot more developed compared to D&D standard alignment system. And also shout out to Phil Kearney. He's doing amazing work. You can find all his stuff on DM's Guild because he's pretty much converting the alignment, the Color Pie system for Magic the Gathering and placing it into your. So you can check out his work there. Yeah, because it provides a different way to approach the gameplay, cast magic and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, but yeah, that's why. But I definitely just wanted to say my piece on it. Don't worry about it. But yeah, so that's why. Yeah, don't worry about the erratas. Don't worry about the lore changes. Ultimately, it's at your table. What you decide to do, what you decide to use, it does. Just because the official people take certain things away or change it that you don't like, it doesn't mean that stuff is not out there. The way you experience the game is going to be how you do it, and ultimately, what you do at your table is the only thing that matters. Really, what it comes down to. I'm in favor of these changes. I think they expand the game and open it up more. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we're gonna get back to this, and then we're gonna jump into my summoner because I wanted to show that off a little bit, and then we're gonna just talk about the channel, stuff that I future the channel, and then that will probably be it. But I'll just throw any other questions you guys have my way. Okay, so again, like I said, I really like this because it does it really does push some more roleplay focus on the fighter, which I like because I don't often see it too much with the fighter. Lifesteal. When you make an attack roll against a creature and roll a 19 on the attack roll, score a critical hit, you siphon some of the creature's essence. When this happens, you can choose to either regain hit points equal to half the damage dealt, or gain temporary hit points equal to half the damage dealt. Whatever your choice, the total cannot exceed the number of hit points the creature had before the attack was made. Oh, okay. I really like this. You had mentioned fighters in your most recent one of your most recent streams, Aaron, having features that trigger off a 19 or 20. And I really like this, and the fact that it just keeps them in the fight. Like it really just does that. So you're just constantly either healing. So you have this it fits the name, the Reaver. You're just stealing life from them. Really, really like how this came out. And it's still by chance. It still has that luck factor, but that whole idea of that fighters should trigger stuff off a 19 or 20 did click for me for another potential class that I'm kind of wanting to develop based off of the narrative was that I was trying to go for is pretty much the Samwise, this sort of sidekick normal man, everyman person that kind of just gets tucked away into the adventure, that gets swept up, and just based off of their bravery that they could they survive, and a bravery and a bit of luck. So and that 19 to 20 critical roll sort of mechanic fits with this sort of luck idea I was thinking about or trying to figure out how to do. And so yeah, I'm a big fan of this one. I like how this just keeps you in the fight. And Sanguine Invigoration. When you use your second wind feature, you can choose to forgo regaining hit points to gain temporary hit points equal. Again, I like this. I think obviously the only thing is like, obviously your stuff's not gonna stack, so you can just kind of like keep your HP up with this, and then second wind, cool. I'm gonna gain a bunch of temp. I can get why some may feel that this is a little overlap, but I think it's okay. Because it's just such a significant bump on your second wind for getting temp HP. And you can still have the option of gaining the life. Oh, getting too wrapped up in reading this. Sorry. Okay. Fred asks, do you think game groups will play higher level games if we get the Spelljammer book in 2022? I hope so, but I hope so, Fred. I really wish Wizards would do a little bit more 1 to 20 games at times. Even though I understand why they only do from 1 to 10. But I want to see how they can design a higher level game. So I hope so. Spelljammer has a lot to offer in that regard, and I just want Spelljammer. It's just such a cool idea. I hope so. I doubt it though. That's the thing. I doubt it, just because of how Wizards designs the intro sort of campaigns and adventures. Okay, so Bloodforged. Let's see. While you have temporary hit points, you gain a bonus to your AC and to Constitution saving throws equal to half your proficiency bonus, and you have resistance to product and poison. Additionally, if you have temporary hit points and receive more of them, you can add them together up to a maximum equal. Ooh, okay, that is sweet. Okay, so the biggest flaw with the temporary hit points is that they don't stack, and this lets you stack them, but with a limit, and I like that. So it doesn't make these features feel because that was the big thing. Like, obviously there's going to be some overlap with second wind and then lifesteal, right? You guys can see. Obviously with lifesteal and with Bloodforge, Sanguine Invigoration, where you use the second wind, you can get temporary HP. There's going to be some overlap, and Bloodforge, I like it because it that issue, and also gives you bonuses. It kind of reminds me a little bit of gets rid of the limit for temporary hit points, but also reminds me of the Spore Druid, where they get bonuses for having that special temp HP. But this is even better because unlike the Spore Druid, where you only focus on having the specific temp HP gain for your spores feature, this is any temp HP you gain. So there's probably some combos you can do with other classes that give you temp HP, and then you can kind of just stack them. That's pretty. I like that, and you get more. You get AC and Constitution. Whew. Fun. This is Terrence sent it to me, so if I don't know if it's out in public yet. Not send me. Drop a link. Drop a link in the chat for it. Okay, we're almost. The last few features: Green Gambit. When you attack a creature with Chill Touch, while you have 5 or more temporary hit points, you can expend 5 temporary hit points to force the creature make a Wisdom saving throw against a D. Ooh, okay. I'm really loving this because it plays with the cool of actually using temporary HP for a bunch of fun. And it just constantly builds on top of each other, which is something I actually really like about when the features kind of do build on top of each other. So yeah, I'm really liking this. How you can pretty much pay pretty much pay your temp HP, kind of like it gives you that feeling of like using your own life force to do certain things. So like for me, this feels like hits right on the head. This is not a fighter UA, but this is actually Indestructible Boy's Life Reaver fighter that he has up on his Patreon. This is something I definitely would play if I wanted to really be. Actually, I'd probably play this if I was a player in my Avernus. I would play this. I'm the scary thing that the devils are afraid of. That's how I would want to play this. All right, thanks for stopping by, Phil. Again, go check out Phil's stuff on DM's Guild, doing amazing work converting Magic the Gathering ideas into D&D. So definitely go check his stuff out, please, and also go support his channel. He's been live streaming almost on a daily here on YouTube. So just look up Phil Kearney and go drop a sub and say hi in his streams. Doing some design stuff and also some art. Definitely go check it out. All right, last fuse. All of Annihilation, you have immunity to necrotic and poison damage, and lifesteal feature now triggers on a roll of 18, 19, or when you score a critical. That's sweet, just expanding it even more. Hand of Death. Any damage you deal reduces the target's hit point maximum by any amount equal to the damage dealt. The reduction lasts until the target finishes. Ooh. When you attempt to frighten a creature that has immunity to the frighten condition, it ends. Okay, I like this. This is like really meaty. Really meaty. Like, this is flavorful because obviously if you're just going to keep reducing the creature's max HP, and if you just keep doing that, it has the same effect of it being dead, but it's over the long haul if you're chasing an enemy or something, like just making them not be able to heal as much. Gonna be one of those things. And yeah, and this, so many creatures in the higher level range that just are immune to frightened. Yeah, this sort of lets them overcome it a bit, and that's one of the things. It makes frightened useful in the late game. Because yeah, it's like I really like this. This is something I would definitely allow at my tables, Aaron, and it has the right flavor of still making you feel the sort of death and dread nightish sort of thing. Using your own life force, stealing life force. I think it really does come together as soon as you hit level 10 and just be able to kind of just do these things. Thank you for stopping by, Underleveled. Definitely go support him and check his channel out too. He appeared in the collaboration video that I have a link to up at the top of the chat. You guys can go check him out. He was Santa Claus. Yeah, definitely go check out his channel. And thank you for stopping by, man. Okay, and then we're going to... Okay, so we're going to do a couple more things. We're going to take a look at my subclass. This is like the second pass of it, but hopefully you guys can see. Not all dark. I only have it on a dock right now. But this version of it. I'm a fan of pineapple on my pizza, so and there's no hate there. I know some that is a point of contention, but pineapple on pizza. Okay, so this is my School of Summoning Wizard subclass. I know it sort of overlaps with the School of Conjuration because that's supposed to be the Wizard's summoning subclass. But the one thing noticing with how Tasha subclasses or Tasha summoning spells are, what I wanted to do was have a class that immediately just screamed, this is your Digimon Pokemon trainer wizard, and this is what you do. And then your focus really is specifically on summoning creatures from the planes, outside the planes. So Planar Connection, this one was a bit of a rework from a previous one. And also shout out to the folks in my Discord for helping me out with this, because originally I wanted to give this insight, but and also the idea was to give them intimidation or persuasion. So I ended up going with what they suggested because ultimately, and also opened up roleplay space that the wizard isn't normally in. So planar connection, your study of extraplanar beings and your connection to them has given you a better understanding of communicating with all beings. You can become proficient in your choice of one of the following skills: so intimidation or persuasion. And then shout out to Krasa for this little additional part, because originally I just had it so that you can use intelligence in place of charisma. But he suggested something more conditional, and this was his suggestion. Additionally, you can double your proficiency bonus when you make a check using the chosen skill while interacting with extraplanar creatures. So it limits it, but also puts it more focused on talking to pretty much fiends, celestials, aberrations, etc. If anything, now that I think about it, if I'm going to be talking to extraplanar beings, it wouldn't be a bad idea to also give them maybe tack on a language proficiency. Get it one additional language for this. Okay. And then the next feature, this isn't completely done, but it's a complete rework of my previous one. It's Familiar Spirit. So pretty much the basis idea for this subclass is it's find familiar / Tasha summoning spells subclass. So originally I was going to do some sort of super buff familiar that you just choose from the regular options. It was boring and not exciting. Yeah, I think that situational one, it is strong, I think, in later levels. I mean, because that's when I expect you to see, or in lower levels, I think what you're going to be discussing with Fae a lot, right? And unless you're going to be introducing fiends and celestials like super early on. But I think you'll be dealing with a lot of Fae, at least in there. A lot. Familiar Spirit, so the basic idea is just to give you a special familiar that has like optional modes that you can choose. This is probably worded completely, I'm gonna be honest, ass. Probably like formatted to ass. But the basic idea is you're gonna get Find Familiar and put it to your spellbook. And then when you cast Find Familiar, you can choose the Familiar Spirit. And then obviously using some of the new pet rules, there's gonna be certain stuff triggered off of that's going to trigger off of like proficiency bonus. But the big thing is like when you choose Familiar Spirit, you can choose a creature type, so Celestial, Fae, Fiend, but I also added Aberration. Normally you can choose Celestial, Fae, and Fiend only with the regular Find Familiar spell, but adding Aberration kind of opens it up, I think, a little bit to, if people want to use this to play some of the more weirder, like Illithid, Mind Flayer, Barry Baldur's Gate 3, you guys haven't played that. The big storyline behind that is that you have a Illithid tadpole in your head. Rich is asking, what do I prefer, one big summon or smaller summon? What do you prefer? I prefer one big summon. So, and that's what this subclass is going to do. It's going to focus on having one summon. I don't want to be a mass summoner. I don't want the necromancer sort of thing where you just summon a bunch of stuff. For me, the big design thing that I'm looking at is I don't want this subclass to bog down gameplay. I want it to streamline gameplay while still making you feel powerful and fitting in that scope of like the Pokemon Digimon wizard. So this one still needs to be worked on, because the whole base idea is that you get to choose a creature type and also choose a movement speed, a different type of movement. So they automatically are going to get walking speed. But so when you summon it, you can give them a swimming speed, or they can get a flying speed, or they can get a climbing speed, depending on the situation. Use your Find Familiar. And then based off of the creature type, we'll open up certain features that are probably going to be cantrip level stuff that will expand as they get more powerful as they as you level up. And then the other feature, so I haven't finished working on that, racking my brain a little bit last night. Okay. Won't be able to heal, but you'll be able to support. So definitely, I think this fits the niche because then you get this feature. Greater summonings. You're capable of empowering your familiar, enhancing its form as part of casting a spell that summons a single creature. So there's no... The one thing I was really struggling with is the coding of the specific types of summon spells. Because obviously I can just say Conjuration, but then you're just better off just playing Conjuration. So the way I've coded it, and I'm hoping this makes sense for people, is that whenever you cast a spell that summons a single creature, that eliminates the mass summoning spells. And it really is Tasha's summon spells, and that's it. So what this does is, for those familiar with Magic the Gathering, there's a lot of mechanics that let you sacrifice a creature to bring out a bigger one. It's also common in Yu-Gi-Oh! That's part of the card game. So this is kind of like inspired by that. So pretty much you dismiss your familiar, and then it takes the form of the newer monster that you're using to summon the spell. But since you're removing your familiar, not having one pet, and you're replacing with another pet, you get to the creature you summoned comes in at one level higher. So if you have a third level summon creature, it would come in at fourth, and etc. So that's the basic idea. But then also, when that summoned creature drops to 0 hit points, or you become incapacitated, or you lose concentration, the form drops, and then your familiar comes back. I'm just looking at it. This is just what I wanted to show off, Fred. I don't plan on doing any more live streams the rest of the year. Since we're already looking at other people's subclasses, I thought I'd just drop this. And then we have Unbreakable Bond. So this one, it's a conditional thing. This is straight ripped from the Conjuration subclass, but it's mainly focused on the single creature. While you are concentrating on the spell that has summoned a single creature, concentration can be broken as a result of taking damage. But I'm not really too sold on this completely. I wouldn't mind just dropping this because I really like this part of the feature. If a familiar or summon creature were to drop to 0 hit points as a reaction, you channel your arcane energy to keep them on the plane, instead dropping them to an amount of hit points equal to your proficiency bonus. So that's and again, you can only do this once. You have to finish a long rest. And then the last feature is like a permanent summoning effect, where you have to use greater summons, and it triggers off greater summons. And that when you do that, the creature that you summon is permanent. So the only way it has to drop to 0 hit points, or if you try to summon your familiar again, you lose that hit also. So yeah. So I'm hoping to get this done before the holidays, and then I'll post it up on Patreon for free, and I'll share it on Discord. I'll share it in all the other Discords too. So you could probably see this on Indestructible Boys Discord, Rich's Discord. I have time to look at a class. Not right now, but definitely if you can drop a link or send me a link somewhere on a stream in the next year, I'm definitely down to look at it. In a stream in the new year, or maybe if I pop up on a stream, I might maybe do like an impromptu stream during the week or something. I have a lot of time off right now coming up. So I'd be down to do something like that, impromptu stream. So yeah, this is just my subclass. It'll be done. Hopefully, I just need to actually finish the Familiar Spirit, and then we're good, and then I can release it to you guys. And again, expect to see it out on multiple Discords for feedback, on my Patreon for feedback, on the community page for feedback. Do you think WotC will release a book in 2022 on running and managing kingdom strongholds? If they do, it's going to be tied to a setting. That's the only thing. I think with I think with Colville already kind of entering that space, and other content creators kind of doing it already, or other designers doing this already, the only way I'll see them doing this sort of book is if it's going to be part of a setting, because that's when they kind of introduced new new mechanics anyways, right? We've seen that with Ravnica expanding on the Renown system, Theros expanding on the Piety system, Eberron having group patrons. I think that's when you'll see it, but I don't think Wizards are working on something like that. It's gonna satisfy players that want that system, because their design philosophy is very, very straightforward. And exactly what Indestructible said. They know that they're going to be stepping on the toes and kind of starting beef with MCDM, and they have a really friendly relationship. But also, I don't think Wizards, no offense against Wizards, but I don't think this is that kind of product that they would be willing to fully develop and actually give it the weight, crunchiness, that sort of system. The way I see how they approach building systems for 5th edition is very, folks are going to say half-baked. I think I consider it very casual. They're not fully developed for those that are super enfranchised of the game, but they're more geared towards casual players that kind of just want a loose system that they can just drop in the game and not really have to do too much, right? Like, okay, here's a couple points I can add to stuff. Message me, Fred, on the side, and I can actually double check my time. If I can, I'd be down. Just reading some of the comments. Indestructible Boy is saying about the Shepherd and Conjuration Wizard. Conjuration, yeah, leans more to teleportation and doesn't evoke the Summoner vibe. And yeah, and Shepherd is a really, really great Summoner class. But it's like, for me, I see the Shepherd as a mass Summoner, right? All right, so with that said, okay, so we're gonna go and talk about future of the channel. I was already kind of like hinting at this earlier, and then we started looking at subclasses. So you guys can kind of see kind of where I'm going. So I've been asking a lot of questions on the community page for votes and stuff. So beginning of the year, you're going to see a subclass overview of the Tempest Cleric. But then these other two videos, Warlord and Session 0 tips for players, they're going to be right after that. I just wanted to see what people wanted to see more. Obviously, my channel has always been geared towards player options, and I've also wanted to do more player tips. I kind of shifted player tips to live streams a bit early on. And might continue that way for a bit. But the biggest thing is, when it comes to subclass overviews, I feel that there's a lot of other channels that just can break down mechanics a lot more concise and have a better grip on mechanics mechanically. I will still continue to look at the mechanics as long as people want me to do. But always the biggest thing when it comes to people giving me feedback on what they like about my videos, it's always been how I reflavor and how I find narrative places to fit the subclasses to help you guys generate character ideas. I might try a couple videos that just focus heavily on that, and with the expansion of more more settings, it might come to a point where videos are going to be dedicated to just fitting subclasses into settings. I don't. Or if you guys were down for like 30-minute videos, which I don't like to do, and I wouldn't be able to do on a weekly basis. But seeing these videos sort of split from each other, and then seeing videos that are strictly on reflavoring these subclasses with actual mechanical takes on it, and actually looking at how to reflavor it and giving you like a reworded version of it, that's something that might happen and change. And then overall subclass overview, mechanic overview would be shifted to live streams. Because that's another big thing. It's no secret, live streams have been doing really, really well, and the one that's probably done the ones that have done the best. Obviously, the talk with Indestructible Boys in here now with Taryn here and Ross with the monk. You guys want to see more of that? I want to do more of those with bringing both of them back on, but also bringing in other content creators to talk and designers to talk about other classes that folks have issues with, or also the flaws and why certain classes just don't click for them, and just kind of go over the overall design and overview, and also talk about quick fixes for you guys implementing your guys' game. So you're going to see a lot more of that kind of stuff for live streams, and see the live streams geared towards more of that. But also, I want to dig into narrative stuff. Obviously, some of the other live streams that were successful. The one with shout out to Julie from Fried Minis, and also Cleric Corner. Shout out to him. Obviously, we kept dipping and talking about Cleric and the discussion about classes that just don't click with us. We just think that are good but suck for us as players. So you're going to see a lot more discussions on narrative takes on how to incorporate in or to expand on the roleplay for those. So you're going to see more of that stuff for streams as well as for videos. But then, yeah, there's only certain content creators that can do 30-minute videos, and power to them because they do kill it when they do those. But I'm not one of those. I'm definitely not one of those creators. But as you can see, the 2 other videos, how to play a Warlord in 5th edition. There's a lot of character concepts that in the base game, not looking at homebrew, that players want to play, but they can't. So this sort of series would look at that and show you, here's all the mechanical features that let you play this. But on top of that, here's a bunch of homebrew from designers and creators that I enjoy and like, that you should definitely go check out and go support them. That's going to be the whole purpose of this sort of series. So the Warlord is going to be the first one because there's a Warlord as a martial sort of support class. There's a lot of wanting for this, and there's a ton of content and designers that have created content for this sort of thing to fit. And I also want to showcase and show you guys their work too. And then obviously more player tips. You're gonna see more of this stuff, and you also probably will see this stuff visited on live streams, talking with other content creators on how they handle these sort of things. And just in terms of live streams, what you're gonna see more of is me bringing in more. You're gonna probably see less of me talking by myself, unless it's gonna be a random stream that's not scheduled. But I'm gonna try very, very hard to get other designers and content creators on channel to talk with them and reach out to many. You're gonna hopefully see a bunch of returning faces. You're gonna see a lot of returning faces, hopefully, and then also some channel size and exposure doesn't matter to me. So it's more so if I like you and I want to talk with you, I want to bring you on, especially for people to kind of just share their ideas and see different ideas. So you probably won't be seeing too much of a debate sort of style stuff, because I don't really want to do debate. It's more so I want to expose people to different ideas in a friendly manner. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. That's where you're gonna see based off feedback on some of the, I think after Tempest Cleric, I'm gonna try some of the some ideas, maybe try just a pure riff flavor video, and then try a separate character idea video, and then put them separately and see how well they do. And based off of your guys' feedback, I will continue it or just go back to what works for everybody. And it's a full-on subclass overview. And for me, when I look at subclass mechanics, it's very hard if I just really like the subclass, because it's like I'm not going to see any flaws, and that's my personal bias. Like, I will, yeah, I definitely will, Taryn. I know for us, it's always just it's scheduling. So definitely, I want to have you back on for sure. Oh yeah, and then go definitely check out AJ Pickett, lore master extraordinaire. The fact that he can just continually pop out really, really long videos, insane, and it's a lot of work. But yeah, definitely see that. And then just, yeah, the live streams, you're gonna just see more character stuff. I will say that the niche for my channel is very diving into character things. And yeah, but I'm loving how the channel is steady growing. Slow going, but it rolls. Yes, actually, you bring it up. This is something I'm going to look into. I want to explore the podcast, getting into and formulating them into a podcast, because that was actually always the original intention to do, is to get them in a podcast form, to get them up on Spotify and stuff, to get them up for people to just want to listen to it. I definitely need to do that. I actually have plans to bring No Fun Allowed back on for in the future. So yeah, we're definitely gonna he's gonna come back for a live stream. I just need to follow up with him, but I definitely will do. Yeah, I want to do it on a podcast, and as long as the channel keeps growing, I have some other stuff I want to pursue with the channel to explore, but I can't do it at this point. But yeah, so yeah, this about does it. Went over a little bit, 30 minutes over, but last thing is I want to give a bunch of thank yous here because the streams have been doing really well. They've been growing, they've been expanding, and I just want to give a huge thank you to all the people that have been supporting. So obviously the first direct supporters I want to thank are patrons and also the members here on YouTube. So Alfred D, Drunken Yoda, Philip D, Eric from Fry Minis, Jacqueline, Antonio, it's Jackie and David, and then our buddy Mondo, and then my dad, for all just straight up supporting me on Patreon. Also Menace on YouTube, and also I forgot Meme Admiral on Patreon. Thank you guys for directly supporting the channel. Thank you. But there's a bunch of other people that support the channel, but are commenting that I see on every video. Big shout out to SWAT Cat. Thank you for SWAT Cat commenting on every video. He went back to deep dive, so thank you for that. Diabolus, I see you commenting on frequently. Sanctissimus, thank you for supporting during the chat and also commenting. Also big shout out to Jinx Jade, commenting a lot on the earlier videos. And then I see CBev, you're here every week. Robert, you've been showing up. There's just a bunch of people. And yeah, so there's more people, but also I want to give a big old shout out to everybody that's been on the streams that have been helping out really expand them. Julie and Eric from Fry Minis, both of you guys, thank you for always being super supportive and for having an awesome supportive community on your guys' Discord. Phil Kearney, also thank you for supporting. Aaron, Indestructible Boy, Ross for coming in on and supporting and being on the stream. Rich also coming in on the stream and always been super supportive of the channel since we started. Crasive for being on the stream also and just helping out with design stuff and questions I poked around and asked from time to time. Wally DM for being on the stream and also being super supportive. No Fun Allowed being on the stream. Steely Sam early on one of the stream. Called Cleric Corner, also being on the stream and being super supportive. Brad from How to D&D being super supportive. Thank you. Honestly, there's probably a bunch of people I didn't even name that have been in support of the channel and just supportive of the work. So again, I'm looking forward to 2022. The channel's in a very good spot to grow and for room for growth. So yeah. So again, thank you guys for showing up. Thank you guys for watching. There's going to be no new videos until the beginning of the year. So I'm taking 2 weeks off. No streams. If there is a stream, it'll be like one that just kind of randomly pops up out of nowhere. And don't expect too much. But I plan to just kind of take a 2 weeks off of like produce work. At least, or showing work. I'm probably going to work on a video here and there just to keep ahead. But yeah. So if you haven't checked out the video for this week, it's a good, heartfelt, heartwarming, very fun collab video. I couldn't get everybody that I wanted to, but I got as many that I was able to. So definitely go check it out. It is in the on the top of the screen. You can click on the chat and see the collab video for what I and my friends expect to see or want to see in 2022. So again, thank you guys for all the support. Hell yeah, that's the goal. 10K next year. Hold me to it. We're gonna go for it. All right. So again, thank you again. You guys have a good one and